Welcome back. If this is your first time here, I am so glad to have you on my little corner of the YouTube internet sphere thing. Oh my gosh. Again, it's late and I'm trying to record this video so y'all can get the goods. So if you're new, welcome. It is great to have you here. You have landed on a corner of the internet that is dedicated to showing you how I personally live my best life, and that is in medicine. That is when I travel. That's through my creative endeavors, specifically through photography, and also just lifestyle in general. What do I do to stay positive? What are my favorite clothes? Things like that, skincare, all of that stuff. Welcome. I'm just trying to be the plug. So if you're new, like, subscribe, follow. I got like probably every social media known to man. And also check out the description box at the end of every video, because I always try to put in any resources that I mention down below so that you can always access them even when this video is out of date. So if you've been following along on this series, we have talked about medical school applications. So we started first with the application checklist, where I just gave you a brief rundown of what to expect out of the application, what you should have prepared, just any tips that I had from when I applied to medical school. Did it twice, so I really know. And then also I've already covered personal statements. So if you're jumping in now, just know there are 2 other videos that you can watch to help you prepare to apply for medical school, or help you right now if that's what you're doing right now, okay? So this video is solely dedicated to the 15 experiences, which is another awesome opportunity for you to really showcase who you are. So let's get into it. 15 experiences, what are they? The 15 experiences are basically just 15 slots on your application. This is AMCAS specific. That gives you a space to share any work experience you've had, any shadowing or clinical experience you've had, any volunteer work that you have done. It is a space for you to share any creative endeavors, anything that has taken up a significant amount of your time, to show how you've spent your time as you began to pursue a career in medicine. And so my number 1 tip for the basic listing of experiences is that you need to say in a very short amount of time, or in a very short amount of words. That makes sense, right? Cool. In a very short amount of words, 1, what the experience was, what you did, and how did it impact you to lead you, again, to loop back to this journey. Everything that you put into this application has to tie into why medicine. Your personal statement, why medicine. Your classes showcase why medicine. Makes sense, right? Cool. So you get 100 words to do that. They also ask you for like where, what, like the name of it, any contact information for someone, a supervisor, someone that they can reach out to double check. I don't know if they've actually ever double checked. I never followed up with anyone that I had put on mine, but honestly, tell the truth, because these are the kind of things that are gonna come up in your interviews. And if you lie, we know. First and foremost, you get like 100 words. Again, you want to include what is it that what the program or job or whatever was, what you did, and what was its impact on your why medicine. So you can show the impact on, you can tell the impact of how it made you who you are today. Okay, I think that's really a simple way to do it. If anything, you should always try to twist things to bring it back to, this taught me communication skills of how to be more open-minded when dealing with people from different cultural backgrounds, and I believe that it will be very useful in my career as a physician. Perfecto! You do not have to fill out all 15. You have 15 spaces, but you do not need to fill out all 15. So do not panic if you only feel like you have 9 or 7 things to put down that you feel like are very strong stories that you can tell. Out of the things that you list, you have the opportunity to pick 3 that are significant to you. And with those 3, you'll get extra space to kind of share even more about that experience. The first thing that I did was list out all the things that I did. I listed out every organization that I volunteered with or worked with in undergrad. I didn't really have any clinical experience at the time. The first time that I applied. The second time I applied, I had just started getting clinical experience when I started my application. So I did include it, but it wasn't a significant experience. You do not, honestly, you do not need to have any clinical shadowing experience because I basically had none. A month is not enough to actually qualify in my mind as like quality clinical experience. But throughout your application, you still need to show that you have been thoughtful about your approach to pursuing medicine, and again, about your why. If your why comes across clear, clinical experience is not the end all be all for showcasing that you have done the due diligence to apply to medical school. So I was a part of the Black Hypertension Project at UCLA when I was an undergrad. Started out as a volunteer, then got a board position, and then I was the director for the 3rd and 4th year. You want to showcase things that you've had some longevity in because it shows your dedication. It can show that you value growth, that you value lifelong learning. These are really like key words that you kind of want to make sure are infused throughout your application. It shows commitment, that you're able to stick to something and work with it and make strides and grow within a space. I think that's really important. So I first did the first short paragraph was really just to explain what the Black Hypertension Project was, the work that we did, and my part in the work. So because it was significant, I didn't put the impact there. So when I went to the part about writing about why it was significant, that is when I said like it provided me with the opportunity to learn. You always want to show that you are willing to learn. I think that's important. You also want to show that you are a team player, that that you know what it means to work on a team, but you also know what it means to lead a team and what kind of skills a leader should have. I think that's also very important. It's important to showcase your communication skills as well. So that's kind of what I talked about there. And then I also, in the end, I kind of brought back again the impact that this experience had on me, what it taught me to do that will then translate towards a career as a physician. So one was healthcare related. It was more so, I guess I would more so say on a public health kind of vibe. Like we went to barbershops and community centers and we did blood pressure screenings. We did like healthy heart workshops, and we also did also in addition with this project, we also did health fairs. That was separate. So we had a health fair committee that planned a health fair. So because it was a separate entity, it was still ran by BHP, the Black Hypertension Project. Because it was like a significantly separate job, I did list it as two separate things. Some people will tell you that no, it's still under Black Hypertension Project, don't list it as two things. But I know that the time and the hours that it took that were separate from the time that it took to do my regular, like every other weekend or one weekend a month kind of work with BHP, and the work that health fair took. So I definitely wrote them as separate things. That's my opinion. I had no complaints about it, and they impacted me in different ways. So I did list that separately. Outside of that, I was a peer mentor and counselor for this program called CCCP. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was like it wasn't 10 years ago, but I'm forgetting what it stands for, and it meant so much to me. Center for Community College Partnerships, that's what it meant. And so it was a program where I helped students that were transferring into a four-year institution or looking to apply to a four-year institution that were interested in STEM. So it was like a summer program. Some stayed on campus for like 4 weeks, and I was basically their counselor, went with them to classes and kind of like really mentor them and advise them, some of which I still talk to today. So it was definitely impactful for me, and it was a lot of hours. So again, that was only one summer, but it was significant to me that I used that as well. So definitely took the one paragraph to explain what the program was, what I did, ended it there because now I had that extra space to share more of a story. So again, in another video, I talked about the importance of sharing a story. So in this case, I kind of took like a specific experience or a specific like clip of that summer of like watching the students like listen to admissions counselors talk about X, Y, and Z, and to talk about and talking about what required GPAs were and all these things, I saw that a lot of them were just looking discouraged because some of them felt like they didn't have what it takes to make it into a place like UCLA. And then instead I shared my story, and my story wasn't over here, it wasn't perfect, and I was just graduating at the time. So I shared that experience, and I shared that the ability to mentor students and that kind of experience has really shown me in my own story like the importance of resilience and how important that is in a career in medicine. Again, always looping it back in. So I think there's a couple different ways that you can approach your significant experiences. One, pick a specific moment within that experience that really impacted you, and then use that to drive a couple different points home. So I think when I think back to also what I did when I was writing these significant experiences, I tried to write down some keywords or feelings that I wanted people to get across from that experience. So I think with that one, it was like mentorship and being able to share a story of resilience. I hadn't gotten into med school yet when I did that program, but I knew that I was going to stick to my guns and to stick to the course and do whatever it took to get into medical school. And so I shared resilience, mentorship. Those were the two components I wanted to share in there. In the Black Hypertension Project, I shared like community engagement and my desire to work in underserved communities. I mentioned like just working with folks that are in lower socioeconomic status. And again, that underserved community piece was kind of what I talked about there, because that's something that I'm actually really passionate about. Also, in regards to like engaging folks in dialogue and providing information that's culturally appropriate. So again, I kind of wrote down some key themes that I wanted to make sure came across in my experiences. So that's also another tip that you can take, is if you're kind of struggling, write down the thoughts, the main words or the feels that you want people to get from your experiences when they read them. And the last one I did that people are always kind of shy to include if they're a blogger or if they paint or whatever, I included photography because that was a huge chunk of my life. I had already been a full-time photographer by that point for I think at least 3 years, because I graduated 2013. I was applying in 2016, so I'd been full-time for like 3 years, freelance while going to school. And it was like so impactful to everything that I did. It taught me what it meant to carry yourself as a business. It taught me that I have an eye for detail. Super important. It taught me that I am able to creatively form solutions. I'm reading that off of what I said, in order to achieve the desired outcome of my clients. Like I mentioned that it's a team effort, that I needed to build trust with my clients in order to deliver what they were looking for. Like there's so many creative ways to share things that are unique to you and experience that you have chosen and have decided were valuable. So I think with these 15 experiences, really just write down the main things that you did. It might be playing club soccer. That is something that could be a significant experience for you, where you're working as a team. You're learning endurance. You're learning perseverance when things might get rough. There's so much in everything, and just about anything that you do. I definitely was a volunteer at a hospital, but it didn't do like the most for me. I still had to think about it and think like, okay, did I learn anything at all? I got to do a lot of like quality assurance type of work at the hospital. And so I kind of talked about that and how something as simple as showcasing your name badge and saying, hello, my name is this, can help to alleviate someone that's in a stressful situation when they enter the hospital, where it's a place where people are sick and people are dying. So I think there's a lot of different ways to get through stuff. Definitely, first and foremost, create your list, kind of star the ones that are the most significant that you're going to write more about. And then remember that at the end of every single thing that you put in there, you need to put in what its impact was on you, or what it taught you, and why, or how it's going to contribute to you being a great physician. That's that on that. 15 experiences. Go ahead, kill it, handle it. If you have any questions or comments, did I do well? Was this orderly? I sometimes ramble. Please leave them in the comments below. Let me know how I can help you. Again, I want to be the plug. Like, subscribe, follow. And I'll catch you next time. Bye, y'all.